Earlier today on our Facebook page, I asked this question. What are signs of improvement in year two under Kalen DeBoer that you want to see? All right. And there was a lot of great feedback. Okay. And we start out with Trey. And Trey says this: obviously, I can only speak as a fan, but there appeared to be a lack of urgency. Fans can feel the vibe. The transition certainly had an effect. Talking about Coach Saban to Kalen DeBoer. There was no way it was going to be easy the first year. I agree with that. And I think the expectations were entirely misplaced. This is a good point. Honestly, the expectations here are national championship. And if you don't reach the national title game, it's a failed season. All right. Trey continues. That said, 11 wins has to be the marker for success this next year. 11 wins. Okay. I'm not even thinking about the playoffs because clearly the committee has no way of knowing who actually belongs. 100%. The way that the playoffs are designed, it's not the best teams. You got to take the conference champs from the big conferences, and then you have to make sure that a non-power conference is inside the playoffs, a Boise State, if you will. I think it'll be UNLV this year. And that can't be the focus. Rallying around small details would have made a major difference last season. Let's hope they do that this season. Let's read that last point again. Rallying around small details would have really made a major difference last season. Okay. Good feedback right here. I think the biggest thing is like the expectations for Alabama football under Nick Saban are pretty much greatness. I mean, you see him right now in his golden era of life. Everything is perfect that he does. Coach Kalen DeBoer taking over, we knew it was going to be a transition. I don't think that we knew that 4 losses was going to be something that happened to this team. Good post there, Trey. Thanks for the feedback. Josh is straight to the point. He's like, a functional offense. You know, earlier on my show, and this is my Friday show, I was showing graphics depicting the quarterback, the running back, receiver, kind of the leaders in each category. And Alabama hasn't had a 1,000-yard running back since Brian Robinson, right? Compounded on the fact that, you know, over the last several years, you had Jalen Hurts that transitioned to Tua Tagovailoa, who put up a ton of yards, put up Mac Jones, who put up 4,500 yards, and then Bryce Young, who also was over 3,000 yards 2 consecutive years. Alabama hasn't had a quarterback to operate at a very high level since Bryce Young, you could argue, right? Jalen Milroe didn't hit that 3,000-yard thresh mark. And I think that you can't always tie it to exact yards that a quarterback throws for, but you see what I'm saying? Like, he totally regressed. In fact, the offense really went the opposite direction. Let me show them real quick. I want to show you another graphic that I was working on for my morning show. And this kind of just further illustrates how far back Alabama's offense, okay? Let me see if I can get this up. You look at 2017 to 2020. A lot of times when I talk about early in Alabama football, 2017, that's when I started covering the team. But you look to the left, you have Jalen Hurts, who threw for just over 2,000 yards. Then you have Tua Tagovailoa, right, who is operating under Mike Locksley, almost 4,000 yards, right? And then 2 years with Steve Sarkisian, you see Tua threw for under 3,000 yards, which is surprising. But you look at the offensive production, you had a 1,200-yard running back. You had Devontae Smith eating, right? And then you had Mac Jones, 4,500 yards. Najee, that 2020 team, ridiculous. The numbers are crazy, okay? To further illustrate that is look at the trajectory. You started to go the opposite path, right? And you look to the offensive coordinators during this time as well. You had Bill O'Brien for 2 consecutive years. I mean, that 2021 team, you know, really, really good. But since that point, you think that I think it shows us that the offenses went the opposite direction that we wanted to go, right? Bill O'Brien, 2 consecutive years, and Tommy Rees, and then Nick Sheridan, Tommy Rees with Milroe in that 2023 season, and then Jalen Milroe working with Nick Sheridan. You don't have a 1,000-yard running back in the last 3 seasons, and you don't have a 1,000-yard receiver in the last 3 seasons, right? It's something interesting to think about. Again, the question, what are signs of improvement in year 2 under Kalen DeBoer? Mike Rhodes is saying this. If he is a struggling quarterback, don't be afraid to put the backup in. And please change out the offensive coordinator. Started to see a lot of post regarding Nick Sheridan. People don't want people. I think people are just frustrated with Alabama's offense. I really do. And frustrated with the fact that you haven't had a high level offensive coordinator since 2020 and Steve Sarkisian, right? This was a major theme this year. I felt, and you guys know me, I was one of the biggest Jalen Milroe fan drivers that there was, right? I believed in his abilities, and it was hard for me to jump off the train because I like him for the person that he is. But quarterback wise, he was regressing, and he was regressing at a bad time of the season, the meat of the season. And the way that he played against Michigan just wasn't it. And Coach Kalen DeBoer never made the call to put Ty Simpson in. And now we haven't seen Ty Simpson. So we're like, Ty Simpson isn't good. Ty Simpson couldn't beat out Jalen Milroe. Well, Coach Kalen DeBoer told you why he didn't play Ty Simpson. He said that he saw the fire in Jalen Milroe's eyes, right? Good feedback right there, Mike. All right. Scott is saying more commitment to the run game, more screenplays, quicker passes, better O-line, spread the ball around to all your playmakers. Scott, great post, bro. More commitment to the running game. The 2023 Washington offense had 1,000-yard running back, right? And you also had multiple wide receivers, more than two, right? More than three. I think there was five that absolutely ate from Michael Penix. And I think that's what you want to see from a fan's perspective, is that offense come over to Alabama somehow, some way. I love screens. You know that about me. If you watch my shows, I'm always talking about running back screens. I think Alabama ran a screen against Michigan. I was happy about that. More of those, please. Quicker passes. You don't really see a lot of crossing routes, right? A lot of stuff under 12 yards. I want to see more of that. Maybe some slants like we used to see with Tua, and better offensive line play. I mean, right? The right tackle position just isn't it. And if Alabama has to play a game right now, I don't care who the quarterback is, they're going to be in trouble. Okay. Unless Welcome Formby has this incredible breakthrough season, which he could. Look at what happened with Seth McLaughlin, right? So I guess we'll have to see. But right now, the offensive line, the right tackle specifically, isn't it? Although, do you maybe think that Michael Carroll, the 5-star, could play tackle? I don't know. Let's see. Pat Nix, what's up, man? I want to see discipline, both on the field and off the field. I'd also like to see a new offensive coordinator, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen, right? The Ryan Grubb stuff, we continue to chase it. It doesn't look like that's going to happen. I'd like for DeBoer to at least look like he has a clue on the sidelines instead of having that deer in the headlights look every single time the camera catches him. I believe he's in way over his head in the SEC, and I hope I'm wrong, and Bama can get back to the playoffs in 2025. Roll Tide. Pat, good post, man. I feel that Coach Kalen DeBoer didn't know what was coming joining the SEC. I really do. Look, he seems like a really great guy, okay? But going on the road to Neyland Stadium, oh my goodness, can you imagine what that was like? Pumping in the fake crowd noise, Tennessee fans. Shoot, they lost to Vanderbilt. And this is what's scary about this next season. This last year's team, didn't play well on the road, right? Lost to Vanderbilt, right, in Nashville. Lost to Tennessee on the road. Lost to Oklahoma. Played terrible in Tampa against Michigan. This year, the road games are hard. I can name 3 of them. The game against Georgia, that's on the road. You play South Carolina, everybody's top 10, that's on the road. And then you play Auburn on the back of the season at the Haunted Barn. Coach Saban said it was haunted. Okay? Yeah, it's scary. Is he in way over his head? I don't know. I want more data points for year 2. If Alabama loses 4 or 5 games, I think, yeah. But let's see what happens this season, okay? Danny's there's no signs of improvement. What a dumb question. The program obviously went dramatically backwards. Look, Danny, what's up, man? I see you. It's interesting to see the national perception of Alabama right now, right? They finish in the number 17 in the AP poll, number 14 in on threes, way too early rankings. They only had 3 players in the ESPN college football top 100, only 2 players projected to go in the first round of the NFL draft. The expectations for this team were once absolute greatness. Now, the perception of this team and the brand really took a step back, honestly. Losing that game against Michigan was terrible for the brand. Okay. Because you had all your guys coming back, all your guys, all your guys decided to play in that game to finish out, right? Michigan's guys dipped out. Desmond Howard didn't even know the players that were playing for Michigan. And Michigan beats Alabama. Andy's talking about, he's like, when I saw the ice cream truck roll up, I knew right there that the standards are, I don't know when the ice cream truck came through or how that operates. I don't know. But yeah, a lot of people talking about Kalen DeBoer and the ice cream truck. Steven is saying, fanatics are going to say national championship is the sign. But a real level-headed people believe the sign will be players being classy and disciplined. Fewer penalties. You know, this is huge. Alabama, I think, finished 122nd in penalties this past season and not being manhandled by any team. I think last year they were manhandled, right? Like Vanderbilt did what they wanted to. Oklahoma really took it to Alabama. Stephen continues, they will be in every game and not find a way to lose a game, but find a way to win a game. And really the main sign will be a team that plays together as a team that doesn't boast, but lets what they do on the field speak for them, because what they do on the field does indeed speak for them. Yeah, I think there's a lot of people sometimes you see Alabama, like some of these new age players doing the TikTok. That really doesn't bother me. Kids are having like they've been doing this for a long time. Now it's just on a huge platform. I really, and to say undisciplined, that's interesting because while they did have a lot of penalties, I didn't see a lot of players in like national headlines for doing negative things, right? Like I didn't see a lot of players getting in trouble under Coach Kalen DeBoer. On the field, there was a lot of penalties, but like outside of that, I don't know. It seemed like there was still some good leadership within this team. But yeah, I think going forward, there needs to be a time whenever these guys do lock in. Maybe you do put some of that off the field stuff to the side and you're like, look, let's buckle down and let's put the brand, Alabama's brand, above our personal brand. And I think that's going to be something that's going to be difficult for every single program because these guys' brands are big. Like Ryan Williams, my goodness, the dude just signed with Hollister. Amazing for him. You see what I'm saying? But the brands are huge. And this is the new world of college football. I hope you guys like this video. Thanks for being here. Thanks for chiming in inside the comment box. Give it Roll Tide. Let me know where you're watching from inside the comment box, and I want to hear from you. What are signs of improvement in year 2 under Kalen DeBoer that you want to see? Post inside the comment box as news happens right here on Bama Football on YouTube, Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Central Time, coming to you from beautiful Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Kyle Henderson, Bama Football on YouTube.